Hello everybody and welcome back to a brand new episode of NASCAR Heat 3 Career Mode. I hope you're all having a great day. Today we decided champion in both the Xfinity Series and in the Cup Series. On the Xfinity side, we have our team in the Final Four with William Byron, and obviously on the Cup side, we're in the Final Four with a chance to compete for the championship today here at Homestead, Miami. So obviously we cut straight to the Xfinity race to start things off with William Byron. He had a fairly rough qualifying effort actually, down in 27th. There wasn't a very good qualifying lap, so he certainly had his work cut out for him early on here in the Final Four. Now as he went down through turns 1 and 2, immediately getting to that bottom line, and that would allow him to gain quite a few positions early on here at Homestead, and that would pay off as he would be able to get into the top 10 and get up to about 7th or so as he went down through turn 3. There you see him continuing, like I said, to work his way forward, but now we come through to towards the last handful of laps in this race, to say the least. He was passing Daniel Hemrick, another Final Four competitor, and Tyler Reddick as well here as he came through turns 3 and turns 4. Now as he came towards the final lap, he was running behind Christopher Bell, who was the car leading the championship at this point, as well as Daniel Hemrick, who had gone back past him. So he's sitting right behind the two drivers he needs to beat here to win the championship on this final lap, as he passes Hemrick through turns 2 and sets his sights on Christopher Bell, as he has a championship in his sights for looking for championship number 2 in the Xfinity Series as he goes down into turn 3 for the final time here in Homestead, Miami. Now he's going to look under Christopher Bell for the championship as they make contact through turns 3 and turns 4, and Byron goes up into the wall and spinning into Hemrick, and we have a big crash there as we exit turn 4. Christopher Bell is going to come through to win the championship as this calamity behind involving one of our own, of William Byron there, as he is going to come through to cross the line somehow, getting a 10th place finish out of that as he just sent it into turn 3, and unfortunately he did not get the championship here today in Miami. Very unfortunate. Like I said, obviously that would have been our first championship, I think, for our team. So, or no, sorry, wouldn't have, because Haley Deegan won the championship, I believe, back in the Xfinity Series, if I remember correctly, for our team a few seasons back. So it would have been our second championship. But now it's time to set our sights on the Cup Series race for my attempt at our second Cup Series championship. Obviously, we won the championship last season here in the 20 car, but now, obviously, in the 24 car for Hendrick Motorsports for the final time, as well as next season we take over Jimmy Johnson, who is going into his final race now in the Cup Series as we come out of turn 4 on our qualifying lap. It was a pretty decent lap, but could have certainly been better. Now as we come through to cross the line, it is P9 here with a 30.826. So let's get straight into this championship battle here at Homestead Miami Speedway.
Hello everyone, and welcome to Homestead Miami Speedway for the running of the Ford EcoBoost 400. Tonight, NASCAR will crown the next Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series champion. Over 40 drivers started the season with high hopes and big dreams. But after a grueling regular season and a roller coaster ride through the playoffs, only 4 of them can still cling to that dream. For the Championship 4, it all comes down to one race. 400 miles from glory. 400 miles from a date with destiny. The wait is finally over. NASCAR's championship race is coming up next.
Alright, we're ready to go green here for the Ford EcoBoost 400 at Homestead Miami Speedway. Eric Jones didn't have a good practice session. He is a Final Four driver, so he is certainly not looking good. Obviously, Kyle Busch and Kevin Harvick, the two other drivers that we have to compete against here today in Homestead for the championship. Jimmy Johnson here in his final race for the NASCAR Cup Series now as we get ready to go green in Miami. Now as the green flag is out and we are underway here for the championship finale as we cross the line sitting in that 9th position. Jimmy Johnson outside of the top 10 for his final race as we go down into turns 1. Obviously, William Byron coming back into the Cup Series next season, taking over our car as we transition into the 48 car of Jimmy Johnson, who obviously is stepping out from due to retirement now as we head down the back straightaway on the inside of one of our Final Four competitors of Kevin Harvick as we go down into turn 3, trying to make a 3 wide already with Almirola and the 2 of Brad Keselowski clearing them, and now passing Kyle Busch to take over the lead at the moment of the Final Four now as you head down the front straightaway. Obviously, this is, I think, a 67 or so lap race, so there's plenty of time for other drivers to get up here, like Eric Jones, Kevin Harvick. So just trying to manage the car at this point, make sure we don't make any silly mistakes now as we exit turn 2, just in front of Ryan Newman there, as he had a great qualifying effort, and so did Daniel Suarez in the 41, who actually qualified on the pole. And up ahead in second, you see Chase Elliott, our teammate, who got eliminated in the last round, unfortunately, there as we pass Kyle Larson now for P3 as we exit turn 4 as well. And we would close in on the back of Elliott and Suarez now as we came through on lap 3 down the back straightaway, looking to the outside now of the 9 for second place as we go down into turns 3 and turn 4. Larson lurking behind now as we're pushing up towards the wall, and we get into the wall there as we come through turn 3. Now we have to get off the wall, getting down to the bottom of the track, just about causing an incident now as Boyer's going to come through, and we're going to go 4 wide across the line there with Boyer, Kozlowski, Harvick, Almirola. One of them were all, or a bunch of them were in that scenario there, so certainly a little bit of calamity there. A brief moment that certainly jumped up my heart rate, but thankfully we keep everything clean. We don't actually really pick up any damage on the car. We hit it light enough to not damage it, thankfully, and we would actually get right back here into the top 5, and we would actually pass Clint Boyer and move up to P4 as Daniel Suarez. He had started falling back, though. He had fallen down to P3 as Kyle Busch, though, had run me down here on lap 8 of 19 in the stage, and he had looked to my inside going down the front straightaway. He is coming through now to take over the top position in the final 4 as we go down into turns 1 and turns 2, and it's still early in this race, so I let Busch have the position. But now as we come through on lap 12, Busch continuing to work his way through as we had gotten past Daniel Suarez, but now looking to pass the 42 of Kyle Larson at this point as Kyle Busch. He was running down Chase Elliott very quickly now as we went down into turn 3. We would be able to clear the 42 of Kyle Larson and take over that 3rd position. And Kyle Busch would continue his rally as he would run down Chase Elliott, and he would pass the 9 of Chase Elliott now as we come through with just 2 to go in stage 1. You see Elliott, like I said, had gotten passed by Kyle Busch, now sits P2 just in front of me. Behind us, we got Joey Logano in the number 22 as the white flag in stage 1 is in the air as we go down into turns 1 and turns 2. Looking to the outside now of the 9 of Elliott there. A little bit of contact made between myself and my Hendrick Motorsports teammate there as he pushed up the track now as we come out of turn 2 side by side. We're going to give him a little bit of a side draft as we head down the back straightaway here for the final time in stage 1. Logano lurking behind as Kyle Busch leads the way through turn 3 now as we're going to look to the inside of Elliott as we come through turn 3 and turns 4 for the final time in this first stage. Just briefly clear, but Elliott battles back on the outside, and Kyle Busch wins stage 1 as Elliott edges us out at the line as we get P3 in the first stage of this championship finale. So Kyle Busch making it known straight away he has one of the fastest cars here, and he is ready to battle for this championship as Kevin Harvick gets P7, so 3rd for Harvick in the final 4, and Eric Jones, the other driver in the final 4, not even in the top 10, so a rough go so far for Jones as we would come to pit road to take 2 cans of fuel as well as 4 tires. Unfortunately, our teammate Jimmy Johnson not even in the top 10 for his final race now as we get ready to start this second stage. Sitting behind the 18 and the 9 of Kyle Busch and Chase Elliott. Now stage 2 is underway in this championship finale at Homestead Miami Speedway. We're going to push Kyle Busch out to the lead here to make sure he holds on just so this inside line will prevail, and that could be an advantage to myself now as we come through turns 1 and turns 2. Busch, he jumps up right to the top towards the wall now as we come through the center of the corner side by side for the lead with Kyle Busch, but he gets clear with the momentum down the back straightaway now as Joey Logano is bringing a ton of momentum as well, but we kind of block his run now as we go down into turn 3. Elliott looking to the inside of me for a brief moment there as we come through turns 3 and turns 4, holding on to that second position for a moment there as we exit turn 4 down front straightaway, coming through to complete the first lap of this second stage. There you see Kyle Larson up here in the top 5 as well as Daniel Suarez just falls out of the top 5 there, battling alongside his teammate of Kevin Harvick as we're right on the back bumper at this point of Kyle Busch as we went down the back straightaway, just staying within close range of him to put the pressure on now as we go down into turn 3. Elliott looking to the inside there as we come through the center of the corner. Now he's going to try and take over that second position from myself as we come out of turn 4. Elliott certainly has one of the faster cars as well now as we give him a little bit of a side draft there down the front straightaway with 15 to go in the second stage as he clears me as we went down into turns 1. So now we cut to lap 3, still behind the 9 of Elliott here in that 3rd position, but now we look to the inside and he goes up into the wall. Elliott somehow loses control there of the car, something he reacted to me looking to the bottom, so he gets into the wall. But he would recover to get back up into the 4th position now as he come to lap 10 in the stage. Him and Kyle Larson battling side by side as we now look to the inside of Kyle Busch as we exit turn 4. A little bit of contact made, and you did see Kevin Harvick actually had gotten up in the mix for just a moment when Elliott had actually gotten into the wall, but unfortunately he had fallen right out of it now as we come through on lap 13. It was just myself, Busch, and Elliott who had ran away at this point now as we come out of turn 4. Elliott though back to the bottom, making a pass on me as we once again try to give him a little bit of a side draft as we head down towards turns 1. Chase Elliott continuing to prove that he has one of the fastest cars here in Miami, and if he did not get eliminated in the last round, who knows what could have been here for Chase Elliott. Now as we hit 2 to go at this point in the stage, you see Elliott making a pass for the lead on Kyle Busch as we exit turn 2, heading down the back straightaway here now with a lap and a half to go in the second stage. Myself and Busch have been the class of the Final Four so far at this point. So it certainly looks like it's going to be a battle between myself and Kyle Busch for this championship by the time we get to the end of this race, unless one of us has issues now as we come down the front straightaway, coming through to start the final lap here in this second stage at Homestead Miami. Chase Elliott looking for one last stage win on the season now as we come through turns 1 and turn 2, just about getting into the wall there as we come out of turn 2 now, heading down the back straightaway. Elliott starting to actually pull away just a little bit there as we head down the back straightaway for the final time in the stage, down into turn 3 for the final time. Larson and Logano battle behind us now as we look to the inside once again of Kyle Busch as we come through turn 3 and turn 4, sliding up just about getting into the side of him, but he gets ahead and clears me as Elliott wins stage 2, and we once again get P3 in the second stage here in Homestead. So a solid result, but still not quite fast enough to be the fastest car in the Final Four here as Kevin Harvick gets P7 and Eric Jones once again outside of the top 10, including Jimmy Johnson, our teammate, who's in his final race in the Cup Series. So unfortunate for Johnson, but now we would come to pit road to take 2 cans of fuel and 4 tires, and we would drop back to P17 for the final stage. I wasn't too concerned because we can use the bottom to our advantage big time here on this restart. Now as the green flag is out in the final stage for the championship finale is underway here as we have our teammate Jimmy Johnson just behind us as we maybe get to see him for the final time in our career mode now as we go down into turns 1 immediately, making it 3 wide there with Martin Truex Jr. as we go down through the center of the corner, already gaining a handful of positions close to being in the top 10 as we exit turn 2. Now Boyer looking back to my outside as the guys behind me gain a ton of momentum due to me being on the bottom and them being up higher on the track now as we go down into turn 3 and turn 4, continuing though to use that bottom to the best I can. There is Chase Elliott and Joey Logano sit 1-2 right now as we exit turn 4. Kyle Busch started on the outside, so now he is starting to fall back there as we go 3 wide with Denny Hamlin as we go down into turn 1. Trying right now to get to at least Kyle Busch as quick as possible, hopefully before lap 50 at least now, as we barely edge out Brad Keselowski as we head down the back straightaway, now into a top 10 position though, as we sit just behind another Final Four competitor of Kevin Harvick, because we're going to look to the inside of him as we go down into turn 3. You see up ahead Kyle Busch, still on the outside. We would get up behind Kyle Larson and Damian McMurray, and we would actually get into the top lane there as we come through now with lap 46, 22 to go as we go down into turns 1, just behind the 18 of Kyle Busch at this point, on the outside of Kyle Larson as we come through turns 1 and at turns 2, right on the back bumper of McMurray. They're nearly making contact as we go down the back straightaway. We're going to push Kyle Busch down the straightaway, trying to get him ahead and myself ahead as we go down into turn 3. Just barely behind the 18 of Kyle Busch as we come through the center of the corner, and Kyle Busch overcorrects into the side of me, and into the wall we go now as we pick up damage on the right side of the car. Big issues now as Kyle Busch, his car stepped out from him and he hit me right on the left front, sending me into the wall now as we have legitimate damage on the car. But now as we come through later on lap 47 back into P11, at least just behind 10th place of Keselowski, we would end up getting a caution now with just 21 laps to go at this point. So this at least gives us a chance, but you see we have at least 1 second of damage. It certainly slowed. I knew that it slowed down the car at least a little bit now as the green flag is back out, and once again we are green flag racing here with 17 to go in the championship finale. And I was thinking, you know, obviously I wasn't happy with what happened with Kyle Busch, but he certainly had no intentions of doing that. You can tell now as they're already going 3 wide there with Logano and Busch as we come through turns 1 and turns 2. So I'm not out to get revenge on Kyle Busch right now, because it certainly wasn't really his fault. He lost the back of the car or something. He just shot up the track, and obviously I was there and into the wall we went. So we're still going to try to win this championship as clean as possible, of course, until it comes down to the last lap. We're going to do whatever we have to do at that point. Now as we come down the front straightaway, Busch and myself on the bottom now here on lap 53 as we come through turns 1 and turns 2. Truex getting into the wall there, slowing up a bunch of cars, and we come through to take over 4th from Jamie McMurray there, and now set our sights on Kyle Busch. Once again, we would drive away from the field. Joey Logano leads there as you see Kyle Busch now making a pass on Chase Elliott. At this point, I knew knew right here that we were certainly in trouble because the car was no longer as fast as the 18 of Kyle Busch was, and that was certainly not a good feeling to have now as we came through turn 4, closing in on Chase Elliott. Now as we came to lap 57, Busch looking to the back of Joey Logano as we go down into turn 3, knowing I need to get past my teammate of Elliott. So we're going to try a bit of a slide job on Elliott as we go through turn 3 and turn 4, and we make it work and take over P3, keeping Kyle Busch within range as we go down the straightaway. But unfortunately now as we came to 7 to go, Kyle Busch had gotten past Joey Logano, and now you see me coming through in turns 1, once again doing a little bit of a slide job to make the pass on Logano and move up to second, trying everything I can to stick with the 18 of Kyle Busch, but I was falling off so much. And as we came now to just 3 laps to go, you see how much faster Kyle Busch was with my tire wear and the damage that he put on my car, and I just had nothing left as now we go down into turn 3. Elliott looking to my inside, and we make contact with our teammate of Chase Elliott, and into the wall we go. And now that's going to bring out a caution here in Homestead, Miami with 3 laps to go. And this will force overtime for the championship finale now as we pick up more damage on the car there after I just went in turn 3 and I slid a little bit. Elliott got into me, and certainly not what we needed to have happen. But now overtime puts us on the back bumper of Kyle Busch here in the Homestead Miami finale now as the green flag is out, and once again we are underway here with 2 laps to go to decide a champion on the back bumper of Kyle Busch. And we're going to look to the inside if possible now as we go down into turns 1, and sure enough we make the move as we come through the center of turns 1 and turns 2 on the inside of Kyle Busch, trying to win the championship here for the 2nd season in a row now, side by side as we exit turn 2. But Busch has more momentum as we make a little bit of contact down the back straightaway. He gets clear as we go down into turn 3. Our only option is to send it as hard as we can into turn 3 and try to stick with him now as we come through the center of the corner now as we come through a little bit sideways there, and that's going to allow Busch to hold on to the position as Elliott's right on our bumper now as Joey Logano's coming through as the white flag is in the air here for the season finale. Busch looking for championship number 2, and so am I as we go through turns 1 and turns 2, getting sideways again on the inside, doing whatever I can to get to the left-hand side of Kyle Busch. One last chance to maybe pass Kyle Busch as we go down towards turn 3 for this final time here in Homestead, Miami. Now sending it in as hard as I can, but it's not going to be enough there as we slide up towards the wall, not able to get to the left-hand side of Kyle Busch. And now as we come out of turn 4, Kyle Busch will come through to win at Miami and get championship number 2 as we come through to get 4th at the line. So unfortunate that we picked up that damage from Kyle Busch, but still I didn't blame it on Kyle Busch. It was not really his fault. But unfortunately, we come up just short of a championship, and now we come through to the post-race stuff. Jimmy Johnson coming through to actually do a little bit of a burnout here to celebrate his career. Obviously, unfortunately, didn't get a win here in his final season, as obviously now we'll be in that car next season as Kyle Busch comes through as well to do his celebratory burnout for his 2nd championship. I sent it into turn 3 as hard as I could. I was full throttle doing whatever I could to get to him, and just as soon as I couldn't get to his left side, and I was coming up the track about to get in behind him, and I started letting off the throttle because I knew I was going to knock the wall down if I just stayed in it. So unfortunate that we couldn't get to his left-hand side. I would have loved to just got there and maybe just rubbed doors coming through out of turn 4 and been side by side coming across the line. Unfortunately, it didn't happen. But as always, if you guys enjoyed this episode, make sure to comment, like, and subscribe. Those would all be very, very appreciated. In the next one, we start the Daytona 500 in the number 48 car after Jimmy Johnson calls it a career, and we will have a truck team as well next season. So look for a video, a special announcement video that might come out before this about that. So I will see you guys for the Daytona 500 in the next season. Thank you for watching, everybody, and have yourselves a great day.